Good evening. Welcome to This Week in Turkey. President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan met with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and EU Council President Donald Tusk in the Bulgarian city of Varna on Monday.
President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan held meetings with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and the EU Council President Donald Tusk in the Bulgarian city of Varna on Monday. The two parties agreed to accelerate relations, Erdoğan has said, while adding it would be self-deceiving to say all problems between Ankara and Brussels have been fixed. We have particularly stressed the importance of keeping channels of dialogue open. There is full consolidation on this subject. We have agreed that in order to accelerate relations with the EU, more frequent consultation on regional subjects would be beneficial, Erdoğan told reporters upon his return from Bulgaria. I told them that a constructive attitude toward Turkey, instead of unfair criticisms and double standards, would help reconcile our ties and facilitate the resolution of issues, he said. Donald Tusk, meanwhile, openly said that there had not been any concrete compromise on issues that were discussed in Varna. However, both sides underlined the need to continue engagement. One of the issues on the table was the EU's promise to pay 6 billion euros in 2 installments to aid the Syrian refugees in Turkey as part of a comprehensive deal. Erdoğan said he had raised Ankara's expectation to start negotiations to update the customs union as well as to have a balanced progress report analyzing Turkey's performance in meeting the EU acquis for accession. The Turkish president also said a delegation would hold talks in Ankara next month to discuss Turkey's proposals to launch a visa waiver for Turkish nationals. Another important issue in the agenda was the fight against terrorism and Turkey's criticism of the EU for not taking concrete and efficient measures to stop the activities of the PKK in Europe. We said we will not make any concessions in our struggle against terrorist organizations like the PKK as well as its Syrian offshoot, the YPG or the Islamic State, Erdoğan said. Relations with the Greek side of Cyprus and Greece were also discussed in the summit. What we say is that southern and northern Cyprus should come together and decide to work with whichever international company they want. International law obliges this, Erdoğan said. Meanwhile, both Juncker and Tusk called on Turkey to release 2 Greek soldiers recently arrested after crossing the border into Turkish territory, Erdoğan stated.
Joining us via Skype tonight to talk about the Varna summit is Bahadır Kaleağası, who is the CEO of the Turkish Industry and Business Association, TÜSİAD. Good evening, Mr. Kaleağası. Welcome to This Week in Turkey.
Good evening.
So some observers have concluded that the summit ended with no visible progress, but after his meetings with Juncker and Tusk, President Erdoğan, stated that they have agreed to, I quote, accelerate relations. What does this mean and what's your overall take on the outcome of this key summit?
Well, given the current conditions in the EU-Turkey relationship, lots of troubles in the Turkish domestic politics, and lots of uncertainties in the EU's policy-making process between the EU countries. This is a positive outcome, of course. It is a political meeting, first of all. It was not a decision-making meeting. And both parties confirmed their commitment to the actual institutional framework of the EU-Turkey membership, and that is the accession partnership. That is very important. It is very important in political terms for the continuity of the democratic conditionality of the European Union partnership process for Turkey, first of all, and it is very important for Turkey's economic competitiveness globally. It is very important for a broad range of issues in Turkey, from social progress to research and development, many areas in which Turkey is having a close relationship with the European Union, and it is important for the continuity of the European Union's positive influence on Turkey's democratic, economic, and social evolution. Turkish President of the Republic, Erdogan, stressed very clearly that his government is committed to the EU goal, notwithstanding the current problems in Turkey, but there is a certain implicit hope that these problems will be overcome soon. On the other hand, European Commission President, European Council's President, both, and also the rotating President of the European Union, Bulgarian Prime Minister, they all emphasize that there is not an alternative framework for European Union's relations with Turkey. Turkey is part of the European Union's enlargement process, and legal basis is the accession partnership. And Turkey, of course, cannot move forward without coming back to its own domestic agenda of democratic reforms and regulatory alignment with the European Union. But while waiting for that to happen, both parties will be patient and will try to focus on other tangible areas of cooperation, hoping also that these tangible areas of cooperation like customs union, visa issues, security issues, energy, and all other issues will be also playing a role of leverage for overcoming the political hurdles.
So, Mr. Kaleağası, you mentioned the visa liberalization possibility, let's call it. After his meetings, President Erdogan also said that a delegation would hold talks in Ankara next month to discuss Turkey's proposals to launch a visa waiver for Turkish citizens. Is this likely at all, in your opinion?
It is likely. Turkey already fulfilled almost all the criteria except 4, so there were about 70 criteria to be fulfilled by Turkey. And they are all not really properly about visa-free movement, visa liberalization. It is labeled as such, but at the end of the day, we are talking about better integrating Turkey to European Union's security system, internal and external. So to convert Turkey into a partner that will really contribute to the European security system, and the visa liberalization means biometric passports, better checks and control of the mobility between Turkey and the European Union. Thus, it is a good field of cooperation between European Union and Turkey for the common interests of the European Union and Turkish citizens, as all other chapters of partnership, cooperation, and integration between the European Union and Turkey. So it's an important issue. There is a good ground to really achieve a progress there. Hopefully it will happen. Turkey has to review its definition of anti-terrorist laws scope, because it has to be limited to the terrorist actions and supporting terrorism, but not to freedom of expression. There, Turkey has an important deficit to fulfill. Maybe there will be a certain compromise, but hopefully it will be a field of achievement or a step towards that in the near future.
You have already hinted at possible answers to my next question in your previous responses, but still I'll proceed with it. So has the Varna summit really changed anything in Turkey-EU relations?
Well, it has become obvious that both parties need each other. Certainly, European Union can do without Turkey, and Turkey can do without European Union, but it is not the best option. The best option is still to be patient and to really work on concrete areas of cooperation. Europe is changing. Europe will become probably a better area of better organized integration with a differentiated system of membership. All the countries will probably be members of the European Union, but some countries will be part of a federal core on the basis of their appartenance to the Eurozone. So we will have probably a Europe of concentric circles, differentiated integration, where a larger European Union will be easier to enlarge to those countries fulfilling the basic criteria on democracy and alignment with the single market, and some common policy areas like transports, energy, and digital single markets are very important, of course. So Turkey in the future can be back in the orbit of the EU's conditionality and transformative power, and can make progress towards becoming a better democracy and a more integrated economy to the European single market, and one day maybe member of this broader European Union rather than a more federal core. That is still possible. On the other hand, Turkey more and more understands that for its global competitiveness, it's very important to be a country in the process of membership, a country which generates the certainty, discipline, standards of the European membership's conditionality, European membership's responsibilities and rights. Therefore, global positioning of Turkey requires a country that is well integrated, more and more integrated to the European Union on the one hand, but also promoting its Asian characteristics of dynamic economy, entrepreneurship, communication skills, flexibilities, so to be a kind of Euro-Asian hub of Europe globally. So that is cherishing best of two worlds. That is good for Turkey's economic competitiveness. That is good for Turkey's the way Turkey will meet the challenges of the 21st century in terms of adapting its steps to the digital transformation, post-industrial revolution, and also all new challenges for energy policies and security policies. But more important than that, a country that can really upgrade its status in the global balance of power as a democracy, as a land of freedoms, as a society which is more entrepreneurial, which generates more social responsibility, more innovation. So Turkey needs to cherish these Euro-Asian characteristics while being mainly a European country. On the other hand, globalization is expanding. Europe cannot stretch. Europe also needs to better meet the challenges of the 21st century. So a Turkey which will be fulfilling the criteria of membership will bring the European Union the critical size that it needs to better meet these challenges of the 21st century, from the digital age to security to energy. Europe needs to be, the world needs a Europe, not only Europe needs to be, but the world needs a Europe as a larger and better area of economy, security, energy, and law and democracy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaleağası, for your comments and for being with us tonight. Turkey and the United States started talks over the procurement of the Patriot missile system this week.
Turkey and the United States started talks over the procurement of the Patriot missile system this week. The two NATO allies will have a roundtable meeting today to discuss the possible purchase deal. U.S. Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary Tino Kedano arrived in Ankara on Thursday to present Washington's offer on the purchase of the defense system. Our work on the Patriot missiles and other systems compatible with NATO will continue, Prime Minister Binali Yıldırım told the reporters earlier in the week. Ankara looks positively towards all kinds of joint work that will guarantee the security of the southern borders of the country, Binali Yıldırım said. Similarly, Minister Volkan Bozkır stated that Turkey is prepared to consider a proposal for the delivery of the U.S. Patriot missile system, but it will need to meet the Turkish request of technology transfer. However, Prime Minister Binali Yıldırım also added that this deal would not be an alternative to the Russian S-400 anti-missile defense system that Ankara had decided to purchase earlier. Last week, U.S. lawmakers had warned the State Department that any sale of Russian S-400 air defense systems should lead to tight measures under the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. Accordingly, the U.S. government has for months urged Turkey to revise its decision to buy the Russian S-400 missile defense system, arguing that it will not be compatible with the NATO system. In December, Turkey and Russia had signed an accord for Moscow to supply Ankara with S-400 anti-missile defense system. Russia had announced last week that the implementation of the system will take place in early 2020. Turkey expressed a wish to accelerate its implementation, and we managed to find the most appropriate solution as we agreed to accelerate the conflicts.
A law regulating video and audio broadcasts online was approved in the Turkish parliament last week.
Turkey's parliament has passed a law placing online video services under the control of the broadcast media regulator, the Radio and Television Supreme Council. Reporters Without Borders has denounced the law, suggests that after bringing the traditional media under full control, the Turkish authorities are now completing their mechanisms for censoring the internet. According to the law, online video services will need to obtain a license in order to continue operating, and before the license is issued, an investigation that could involve the police and Turkey's National Intelligence Organization will be necessary. The Radio and Television Supreme Council will be in charge of monitoring content and imposing sanctions in the event of irregularities. It will also be able to appeal to a judge to get websites blocked within 24 hours if they continue to operate without a license. Although individuals posting videos online are not expected to be affected, some of the law's wording is vague. An implementation decree is supposed to fill those holes within 6 months. Legislations passed in the recent years have repeatedly extended the powers of the authorities to block websites in Turkey. Alongside a number of outspoken Turkish news websites, the authorities have also blocked Twitter and YouTube multiple times, while Wikipedia continues to be inaccessible.
70 mobile applications, including Get Contact, were blocked by a court ruling on Thursday for putting their users' personal data safety at risk.
A Turkish court on Thursday blocked access to 70 mobile applications and websites designed to expose how others have saved people's numbers for putting its users' personal data safety at risk. According to a ruling by the Ankara First Panel Court of Peace, the apps and websites were blocked to protect the safety of people's lives and property after a complaint filed by the telecom watchdog, BTK. The ruling came after an app called Get Contact became popular among Turkish social media users last week. The app shares the contact information of its members' phone books with everyone, thereby letting users see how their numbers were registered by other people's contact lists. Get Contact's website published a statement on Thursday saying that their data will not be sold to third parties and that they are working intensively to adapt to the regulations of the countries the app offers service.
Now let's take a look at what's on in Istanbul next week.
Acid Arab will warm Babylon's stage tonight. Born in the transcultural cauldron that is Paris, their concept was to create a space for Arab culture in the world of contemporary electronic music. They laid down groundwork by releasing several EPs through the electronic music label Versatile, featuring collabs, remixes and tracks by other artists. Digilog's first exhibition in 2018, Nonotak, kicked off yesterday at Zorlu PSM and will be held in collaboration with Sonar Festival until the 29th of March.
Thanks for tuning in and hope to see you again next Friday at 9 p.m. Goodbye.